The weathered hands that trembled while pouring morning coffee moved with surgical precision as Ezra Caldwell field-stripped his hunting rifle in under 30 seconds. Something was wrong. The forest sounds had stopped. No birds, no rustling leaves, just silence that screamed danger to ears trained in combat zones most people couldn't pronounce. His faded red flannel shirt hung loose on his aging frame, khaki pants showing years of wear. To any observer, he looked like every grandfather who'd ever gotten lost on a hiking trail. But those same trembling hands had once held the military record for confirmed long-distance targets. The coffee cup sat cooling on the porch rail, untouched. 3 figures in black tactical gear crouched behind the dense pine trees, studying the modest log cabin through binoculars. They had been watching for 2 hours, noting the old man's routine, his slow movements, the way he favored his left leg when walking. Perfect target, isolated location, no witnesses for miles. Marcus Webb adjusted his black mask and signaled to his partners. The plan was simple. Wait for the geezer to take his afternoon walk, break in, grab whatever cash and valuables they could find, and disappear before anyone knew they were there. Intel suggested the old hermit had been squirreling away money for years. Ezra Caldwell stepped off his porch, red plaid shirt catching the filtered sunlight through the canopy. At 68, his white hair and measured gait painted him as an easy mark. The 3 men in black had no idea they were watching someone who had spent 25 years in places where hesitation meant death. His daily walk served 2 purposes: exercise and perimeter check. Old habits from Iraq died hard. The route change today wasn't random. He had spotted binocular glint an hour ago. Their gear was too clean, too new. Amateurs who thought black masks made them invisible in daylight. City boys playing soldier in his woods. Webb's voice crackled through the radio. "Old man's moving. Tommy, you take the back door. Rico, circle around front. I'll handle him if he comes back early." What they couldn't see was the way Ezra's seemingly casual stride measured distances to cover points. How his hands, steady now despite the morning tremor, automatically calculated wind speed and angles of approach. The arthritis that made him grunt getting out of bed vanished when adrenaline kicked in. The hiking trail curved toward the creek, taking him temporarily out of their sight line. Standard reconnaissance pattern. Let them think they had the advantage. Let them commit to their positions. In the cabin's hidden safe, beneath the floorboards they'd never think to check, lay items that would have made those binoculars shake in their hands. Congressional Medal of Honor, Distinguished Service Cross, and a faded photograph of Ezra in desert camouflage, holding a sniper rifle that had never missed its target. The coffee was getting cold, but Ezra wouldn't be needing it for a while. Tommy crept toward the cabin's rear entrance, black boots silent on pine needles. The old man had been gone 15 minutes, plenty of time to grab the cash and run. Through his mask, sweat beaded despite cool mountain air. This should be easy money. The back door stood ajar. Strange. Tommy paused, cocky confidence wavering. Country folks usually locked up tight. Maybe the geezer was losing it. He pushed inside, weapon ready, scanning the kitchen with the impatience of someone who thought planning was for weaklings. Rico positioned himself near the front porch, watching the trail. Marcus moved toward his ambush point. Everything looked perfect. The hermit would return to find his little sanctuary violated. Easy score from someone too old to fight back. Ezra had circled back through terrain they couldn't see. His red flannel now seemed like camouflage, blending with scattered autumn leaves. From behind a fallen oak, he watched Tommy's entry. The kid moved like he learned tactics from movies. Heavy steps, poor angles, no awareness. In Fallujah, mistakes like that got squads killed. Tommy's voice crackled through radio. "I'm inside. Looks clean. Checking for the stash now." Ezra traced the oak's bark. These weren't desperate locals stealing food. Their expensive gear was coordinated. Someone had sent them specifically for him, but who knew his location? He'd stayed off grids, avoided attention, lived quietly. Radio chatter continued as Tommy tore through the cabin like a hurricane. Drawers yanked open, furniture shoved aside, personal belongings scattered. The kid had no respect, no control, pure greed driving every move. Ezra's jaw tightened watching his possessions destroyed. Those items had meaning. Photos from his service, letters from dead friends, pieces of a life spent protecting others. Rico's position was textbook terrible, outlined against light logs, no cover, watching the wrong direction. Probably thought Ezra would stroll back like some lost tourist. Instead, Ezra moved through underbrush with practiced silence. Each step placed with precision learned from years where noise meant death. His morning arthritis seemed like ancient history. Muscle memory overrode age and pain. Marcus was smarter, choosing better cover with overlapping views. He'd be the real challenge. But even Marcus made crucial terrain errors, picking comfort over tactical advantage. Radio crackled. Found 300 in the kitchen. Keep looking for the real money. Ezra smiled grimly. They had no idea what they were really hunting, or who was hunting them back. The first stone struck Rico's shoulder blade with surgical precision. He spun around, weapon raised, heart hammering. Rico had always been the nervous one. The guy who jumped at car backfires, who checked locks 3 times. Now his worst fears were coming true. Something hit me. The old man's back. He whispered into his radio, voice shaking. Marcus crackled back. Stay calm. Probably just a branch. Hold position. But Rico knew better. That stone was aimed, thrown with intent. His expensive gear felt like cardboard now. 22 years old, 3 tours with this crew, and he'd never felt this exposed. This wasn't supposed to happen. Old guys didn't fight back. Ezra had moved southeast, using terrain invisible from their positions. The stones were psychological warfare from Afghanistan. Create doubt, force mistakes. These city boys would see threats everywhere now. Tommy's voice buzzed from the cabin. Place is coming up empty. Just old photos and junk. Where's the real valuables? From behind Mountain Laurel, Ezra could see all 3 positions. Tommy destroying his home, Rico spinning at shadows, Marcus trying to hold command while rattled. Time to escalate the pressure. The second stone hit Rico's helmet hard enough to stagger him. This trajectory came from the wrong direction entirely. Not where some confused grandpa should be. Rico dropped to one knee, scanning frantically. He's out there, moving around us. Rico's voice cracked like a teenager's. He'd bragged about this job for weeks, easy money from some hermit. Now he wanted his mom. Marcus snapped back. Impossible. He's 60-something, half-blind, definitely not trained. Ezra chuckled quietly. Half-blind. If only they knew about eyes that had tracked targets at distances they couldn't imagine. Hands that never missed when lives depended on it. The radio chatter turned frantic. Tommy emerging empty-handed and confused. Rico demanding immediate extraction. Marcus fighting his own growing unease while trying to maintain control. Ezra had already cataloged their escape routes, noted vehicle location, estimated ammunition from observing movements. 25 years of intelligence work didn't vanish with age. He reached for his notebook filled with precise details, names, license plates, descriptions, equipment costs. 40 minutes had built complete profiles on all 3. The third stone never came. Instead, silence fell like a heavy blanket. No birds, no wind. Even the creek held its breath. Rico's nerves snapped first. I'm getting out of here. This whole job's cursed. The kid was remembering every horror movie he'd seen. Every campfire story about things in the woods. Urban legends were feeling real now. Marcus barked orders trying to maintain control, but doubt infected his team like plague. They'd expected a helpless victim and found something else. Something that owned these mountains. From concealment, Ezra watched their formation crumble like a house of cards. Marcus Webb forced his breathing to slow, finger on his weapon safety. 20 years of street crime had taught him to read situations. This one was going bad fast. The old man wasn't acting like a victim. Victims ran, screamed, begged. They didn't stalk trained operators through forest like some hunting predator. Rico's panicked voice crackled. Moving to extraction. This job's sideways. Stay in position, Marcus hissed. But his authority was cracking. The easy score had turned into nightmare fuel. Tommy emerged from the cabin, mask askew, hands holding only kitchen drawer cash. His gear looked ridiculous now, like Halloween costume. Violation of the old man's home had yielded nothing but scattered photos and broken furniture. Ezra watched their discipline collapse. He'd seen this in Iraq when insurgent cells broke under pressure. First doubt, then panic, finally complete breakdown. These 3 had gear, but lacked training for psychological warfare. Marcus tried rallying. Regroup at cabin, search systematic, then extract. But Ezra was moving to intercept their escape route, using deer trails that put him between criminals and freedom. A memory flashed. Baghdad rooftop. 2007, watching enemy fighters flee through alleys while his spotter called targets. Wind's picking up, Ezra. Adjust 2 clicks right. The shot that saved a convoy 20 blocks away. His hands remembered that precision. Rico broke first, abandoning position toward their vehicle. Heavy breathing echoed through radio as branches snapped under clumsy retreat. City boots on mountain terrain. He was making noise to wake the dead. Ezra paralleled Rico's movement, staying invisible. The kid walked straight into natural funnel between rock outcroppings. Military called it kill zone, though Ezra had no intention of using lethal force unless necessary. Tommy and Marcus followed Rico's retreat, formation completely broken. The precision from initial surveillance was gone, replaced by barely controlled flight. They moved like what they were, urban criminals out of their depth. Radio chatter revealed growing desperation. "Where's the vehicle? Should be right here." Ezra smiled. While they'd focused on the cabin, he'd taken small detour to their extraction point. Nothing dramatic, nothing permanently damaging. Just critical components relocated where panicked minds wouldn't look. City boys rarely checked engine compartments when fear set in. The memory strengthened him. Master Sergeant Rodriguez pulling him aside after that Baghdad mission. "Caldwell, you got ice in your veins and steel in your spine. Never seen shooting like that. 3 tours, 47 confirmed targets, 0 friendly fire incidents. Congressional Medal of Honor for the operation that never made newspapers." These 3 had picked wrong target. They'd expected helpless hermit, and found something forged in places where hesitation meant death. The hunt was officially beginning. The black SUV sat where they'd left it, but Marcus knew something was wrong. Subtle signs separated professionals from amateurs. Hood slightly open, disturbed dust, faint oil scent where none should be. Tommy yanked the door handle. Desperation overriding caution. Engine turned over once, twice, then died with mechanical wheeze echoing through mountain silence. Rico pounded dashboard, earlier bravado completely gone. "Pop the hood," Marcus ordered, though he suspected what they'd find. Key parts had been moved, not destroyed, just relocated where panicked criminals wouldn't think to look. Professional sabotage showing intimate knowledge of engines. Whoever did this knew exactly what he was doing. Rico's voice cracked. "How did some old hermit disable our ride?" The question hung like smoke. Marcus stared at the engine, puzzle pieces clicking together. Perfect stone throws, surgical timing of psychological pressure, expert vehicle sabotage. This wasn't luck or desperate improvisation. Tommy found the missing parts and began frantically reassembling while Rico kept watch. Their movements had jerky quality of prey animals sensing predators. Every sound made them flinch and grab weapons. From elevated ridge above parking area, Ezra observed through binoculars that had seen use in places most couldn't locate on maps. Crosshairs tracked their movements with mechanical precision, muscle memory from thousands of hours behind similar optics. Another memory surfaced. Helmand Province, 2009. Taliban commander fleeing through poppy fields while Ezra's team coordinated pursuit. Targets moving southeast, 2 clicks out. The satisfaction of watching enemy leadership crumble under coordinated pressure. These 3 were showing same patterns. Marcus finally voiced what they were thinking. "This ain't some random mountain man. Somebody set us up." Radio in Marcus's vest crackled with incoming transmission. Voice they recognized from briefing, cold and businesslike. "Status report. Package should be secured by now." Marcus hesitated. How to explain that 3 armed professionals were stranded in hostile territory, outmaneuvered by someone they'd been told was helpless? "Complications," Marcus transmitted. "Targets more prepared than advertised." Response came sharp. "Handle it. Package is priority. Extraction not guaranteed if mission fails." Ezra's expression hardened listening through military surveillance equipment to their chatter. This wasn't random crime. Someone had sent these men specifically for him, provided detailed intelligence about location and habits. Question was who and why now, after years of careful isolation. Tommy got engine running, black smoke coughing from exhaust, but mechanical repairs wouldn't solve their real problem. They were operating in terrain controlled by someone who understood warfare at levels they couldn't comprehend. Rico climbed into passenger seat, weapon ready, scanning tree line through tinted windows. His confidence was gone, replaced by haunted look of someone realizing he was being hunted by something far more dangerous than expected. Marcus made the call, changing everything. "We finish this now. Fan out. Locate target. Complete mission. No more games." Above them, Ezra smiled grimly and began descent toward final confrontation. The three men spread out from their vehicle in a tactical formation that would have impressed their instructors back in whatever urban training facility had taught them basics. Marcus took point. Tommy flanked left, Rico reluctantly moved right. Their coordination showed improvement under pressure, but they were still operating in Ezra's domain. From his elevated position, Ezra watched their approach through terrain he knew like his own heartbeat. Every rock, every tree, every depression that could provide cover or concealment had been memorized during 5 years of solitary living. They moved with purpose now, desperation giving them focus they had lacked earlier. Marcus spoke into his radio, voice carrying in the thin mountain air. "Command, we are engaging target directly. Situation has escalated beyond initial parameters." The response crackled back immediately. "Package retrieval remains priority. Use necessary force. Target has information that cannot reach outside parties." Information, not money, not valuables. Ezra's mind raced through possibilities. His military service had involved classified operations across 3 theaters of war. Secrets that governments preferred stayed buried. Someone wanted him silenced, and these 3 were just the delivery mechanism. Rico stumbled over loose shale, cursing under his breath. The kid's earlier bravado had completely evaporated, replaced by genuine terror that made his hands shake. He kept glancing at shadows, expecting threats from every direction. Smart kid, finally understanding the gravity of his situation. Tommy moved with more confidence, using trees for cover, keeping low profile. But his impatience showed in rushed movements, taking shortcuts that exposed him to observation. He wanted this job finished quickly, probably planning how to spend his payment before actually earning it. Ezra began his descent, using established routes that kept him invisible while closing distance. Another memory surfaced. Kandahar, 2006. Moving through Taliban positions to establish overwatch for convoy protection. His spotter whispering, 37 targets identified, Caldwell. This is your show. The precision that had earned him legendary status among Special Forces operators. The radio chatter revealed growing tension among the 3 men. Marcus maintaining command authority, but strain was showing. Rico asking questions about extraction timelines. Tommy complaining about terrain difficulty and demanding hazard pay increases. From behind granite outcropping, Ezra could hear their conversation clearly. Marcus explaining that their employer had specific interest in documents Ezra might possess. Military service records, operational details, personnel files from classified missions. Information that could embarrass certain government officials if made public. Rico's voice cracked. "Why didn't they tell us he was military? This changes everything." Tommy laughed nervously. "Military was 50 years ago. Old man's probably forgot how to tie his boots." Marcus remained focused. "Orders are orders. We locate, secure package, neutralize witnesses. Standard protocol." Ezra's jaw tightened. Neutralize witnesses. They weren't planning to leave him alive regardless of compliance. His isolation hadn't been paranoia. It had been necessity. Someone had finally decided his silence was worth more than his discretion. The distance between hunter and prey was closing rapidly. Ezra reached his predetermined position behind the boulder field, 300 yards from where the criminals continued their clumsy advance. Distance that had once meant life or death in desert warfare. His weathered hands found familiar grooves in the granite, muscle memory guiding him into shooting stance perfected across decades of precision work. The hunting rifle emerged from its hiding place beneath a camouflage tarp, cleaned and maintained despite years of retirement. Scope mounted, bore sighted, ready for work, it was designed to perform. Not some sporting goods store purchase, but military-grade equipment that had never failed when lives depended on accuracy. Marcus's voice carried across the terrain. "Tommy, check the cabin again." "Rico, establish perimeter watch. Command wants confirmation about documents before we proceed." Documents. Ezra knew exactly what they were hunting. After discharge, he had retained copies of operational reports that certain Pentagon officials preferred forgotten. Operations that crossed legal boundaries, civilian casualties that never made official records, friendly fire incidents blamed on enemy action. His insurance policy against retaliation had become liability. Rico positioned himself behind thin pine cover, weapon ready but hands trembling. The kid had finally grasped that this wasn't ordinary crime. His earlier confidence was gone, replaced by survival instinct that told him death was stalking these mountains. He kept checking his weapon's safety, nervous habit that would get him killed in real combat. Through his scope, Ezra could see Tommy methodically searching areas he had missed during initial ransacking. More careful now, checking walls for hidden compartments, examining floorboards for concealed spaces. Someone had provided detailed intelligence about potential hiding locations. The rifle's familiar weight brought back another memory. Syria, 2008. Eliminating enemy sniper who had pinned down Marine patrol for 6 hours. 800-yard shot through swirling sand, single round that saved 23 American lives. Colonel Martinez, shaking his hand afterward. Caldwell, you just redefined impossible. That target should have been unmakeable. Marcus coordinated his team's movements with growing efficiency. These weren't completely amateur criminals. Someone had trained them for systematic search operations, taught them proper communication protocols. Their employer had invested serious resources in this mission. Radio crackled with incoming transmission. Time is factor. Local authorities may investigate missing persons reports. Complete mission within 2 hours or abort. Missing persons reports. Someone knew these three might not return. Professional operation with built-in deniability. Ezra was dealing with organization that planned for casualties and covered tracks systematically. Tommy's excited voice cut through static. Got something. Hidden safe behind fake panel. Looks like military documents inside. Rico's relief was audible. Finally. Let's grab it and get out of here. Marcus maintained caution. Confirm contents first. Command specified exact materials. Ezra adjusted his scope, compensating for wind and elevation. 3 targets, multiple positions, overlapping fields of fire. Classic tactical problem with clear solution. His finger found trigger guard, settling into position that had never missed when it mattered. The legendary sniper was about to remind these intruders exactly why legends were born. The first shot shattered Tommy's weapon, sending metal fragments spinning through mountain air. Precision beyond their comprehension, surgical accuracy that left the young criminal staring at twisted metal in his hands. No blood, no permanent injury, just clear demonstration of capabilities they had never imagined. Rico dove behind inadequate pine cover, weapon forgotten, survival instinct overriding training. His radio chatter turned to pure panic. Sniper, professional sniper, we're pinned down. Marcus maintained composure longer, scanning terrain for muzzle flash that would never come. Ezra had chosen position with natural sound baffles, making shot location impossible to determine. Classic counter-sniper tactics learned in places where mistakes meant body bags. The second shot disabled their vehicle permanently. Engine block cracked beyond repair. No escape now. No extraction. They were committed to this mountain until situation resolved completely. Marcus finally understood the depth of their error. Command, we need immediate backup. Target is not civilian. Repeat, target is military trained with sniper capabilities. Radio response came cold and final. No backup available. Complete mission or face consequences. Ezra's voice carried across the terrain, amplified by natural acoustics. Drop your weapons. Walk to the clearing. Hands visible. You have 30 seconds. Rico broke first, throwing down his weapon and stumbling toward open ground with hands raised high. Tommy followed, realizing that continued resistance meant certain death. Marcus held out longer, professional pride warring with tactical reality. The third shot removed Marcus's radio antenna with surgical precision, cutting their communication to their mysterious employer. Message was clear: cooperation or escalation. Choose wisely. Marcus dropped his weapon, hands rising slowly. 3 urban criminals, supposedly trained and equipped. Neutralized by single individual, they had dismissed as easy target. The legendary sniper had reminded them why legends earned their reputation. From his position, Ezra maintained overwatch while retrieving zip ties from his gear. Military police training from decades past, securing prisoners for transport to proper authorities. These 3 would face justice through legal channels, not wilderness execution. The documents you're looking for are copies, Ezra called out. Originals were sent to investigative journalists years ago. Your employer's secrets are already public record for anyone who knows where to look. Rico's voice cracked. We were just hired muscle. We don't know nothing about documents. But Marcus understood the implications. Their mission had been pointless from beginning. Someone had sent them to eliminate witnesses to crimes already exposed. Either incompetence or deliberate sacrifice of assets. State police arrived 4 hours later, responding to Ezra's encrypted communication through channels his former colleagues still monitored. 3 suspects in custody, weapons secured, complete operational intelligence package prepared for federal investigation. The cabin sat quiet again as evening settled over Colorado mountains. Ezra poured fresh coffee, hands steady now, morning tremor gone. His sanctuary had been violated, but security was restored. The legendary sniper had protected what mattered, his right to peaceful retirement. Outside, mountain sounds resumed their natural rhythm. Birds singing, leaves rustling, creek flowing toward distant valleys. Thieves had targeted an old man in the woods. They hadn't known he was a legendary sniper. Now they understood the difference between appearance and reality in ways that would stay with them forever. The coffee tasted perfect. This story of justice and experience triumphing over arrogance reminds us that legends are earned, not assumed. In the modern American West, appearances can be deceiving, and wisdom often wears the quiet face of an old man who has seen too much. If you enjoyed this Western tale of unexpected heroism, click on the video appearing on your screen now to discover another thrilling story from the American frontier. Each story brings new adventures and unforgettable characters from the modern West. Don't forget to subscribe for more Western stories for sleep, and consider leaving a super chat to support us in bringing you these original tales from the frontier.